Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I hope to have a second talking thing in the basement at the end of the evening, hopefully. Speaking of talking things, who do I have in the chat? We have Kibbs with Retro, Thomas Armstrong, Retro Tech or Die, Sadmac 356, Sorcerer Stan, Frank S., Gut Bomb. Hello, everybody. Yes. Oh, Gut Bomb, I didn't get your socket, so we'll have to do some surgery on a random socket that's on my workbench. And Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack. Hello. Right. I guess I'll remind everyone the coffee links in the description for the goal, which will probably go to buy some heavier duty shelves for the basement, actually, because I need more places to store computers that are being repaired. So it arrives on Saturday. Well, I'll use it on something else. So anyways, to start off, what do I have on the workbench? Well, I have a bag from eBay, the place where I buy things I might later regret. So, what is in the bag? Well, hopefully it is 4 replacement EEPROMs for this Emerson 500EC. Oh yeah, Kibbs is pointing out. Yes, smash the like button too. Yes. Might. Yeah, you can probably see the world's saddest looking socket here that I'm going to cut more pins off of and make a 8-pin socket so that I can put one of these in the board in case this plan doesn't work. Because during Dave's stream on Sunday, I figured out where the passwords on this board are apparently stored. So I guess I should probably bring you all up to speed. You might notice this chip is missing, and long story short, I figured out this was an EEPROM. In fact, the EEPROM's actually sitting right here. I didn't want to lose it. So this is the original EEPROM. Notice, these are the BIOS. So this is a NMC 9346N, I believe. I think that's 46. Let me look under the microscope to remind myself. Yes, NMC 9346N. It's like a 128 byte EEPROM. Yeah, 128 bytes. But apparently, basically, it came down to this. So I had made a post on the RetroWeb Discord and actually on Vogons. I guess I started the thread on the RetroWeb because I'd posted the dump of the BIOSes, and I'd mentioned, hey, I got this motherboard. It's got a password. It's like seemingly not initializing things. But long story short, someone on the RetroWeb Discord loaded up the BIOS from this motherboard in an emulator, PCEMU, I think. And they mentioned an error message that they kept getting every time they booted the emulation. It was like security system reinitialized. And I thought that was odd. So it got me to thinking, well, I don't know what all the chips on this board are. Maybe I should look to see if there's any that are some sort of memory chip that wouldn't be cleared when the battery dies. And sure enough, I mean, of course, the chipset, it had a pass because I didn't suspect the chipsets of this era would have flash memory in them because I'm not aware of any chipset that had flash memory in it of that era. I mean, that's the processor. These, I think, are GALs or PALs. I don't know exactly what they do, but they look like they're GAL or PAL parts. So I was like, okay, that's probably not it. I mean, there's some 74LS logic here. That's part of the chipset or possibly the multi-IO. That's the keyboard controller. I believe these are the speech chips or possibly sound chips to play the speech. This is a Dallas chip. This one I had at first suspected because it's a Dallas DS something or other, but it's actually a controllable potentiometer. It controls the volume level for the sound, apparently. But then I got to this chip here. It's a Dallas DS1206, and Jeremy luckily found the datasheet for it. It's like a parallel to 3-wire serial interface chip. I'm like, wait a minute. Why would this board need a 3-wire interface? 3-wire serial interface. Basically, clock, data in, data out. Why would this board need that? And what's it connected to? So, luckily, the traces are pretty much on the top of this board, and I followed them right to there and looked up that part number, and it's 128-byte EEPROM. I'm like, I bet that's where the passwords or their hashes are stored. Not in here, but in there. And sure enough, when I removed this chip from the board and tried to boot this motherboard, I get the security system reinitialized error that the user on the RetroWeb had noticed. And sure enough, I'm pretty sure that's where the password hashes are stored. But I tried to erase the original chip in my programmer because it supposedly supports it, and the original chip will not erase. So that's why I ordered some brand new ones, because I'm going to try to put a new chip on this board, and hopefully that security system reinitialized error is actually it realizing the chip's blank and it writes its like defaults to it. So I'm hoping that will get rid of the passwords if I put a new chip in there and let it do its thing. I'm hoping it won't bug me for a password because there will be none. So anyways, I still have the original chip though. It still has its original data because it will not erase. I do not know why it won't erase. The data sheet says nothing about write protect, but whatever. Oh, and hi Robert and hi Bruce, welcome. So anyways, I guess let me get busy getting a socket on this board because I don't know for sure that replacing this chip is going to allow me to do the happy dance, and I might have to settle for a version of the BIOS that has the security disabled to be able to use this computer. But that would also disable the sound because apparently the sound and the passwords are a package deal. Probably because it's all one module that adds support for both. So I believe I got, yep, I cleared the vias on Dave's stream. So all I got to do is make a socket because, well, that's the only way I'm going to have an 8-pin socket. And so I'm going to hopefully, if I cut this here, and I have other sockets in case I mess up. All right, so the other half of the socket is what I used Tuesday night to put an 8-pin socket into the Coco 2, if anyone's wondering. After all, this is one of the better quality sockets that I bought, so I figure, well, I'd better probably use it because I think this is probably one of the TE connectivity ones I bought. All right, well. Oh, Kibbs has got a good point. Yeah, make sure the EEPROM's clean. All right, well, that's a good point. Well, I still got to put a socket in the board, and then I'll pull the programmer out, and we'll double check these are actually blank chips. I'm hoping they're blank. And if they're not blank, I'm hoping at least one of them will erase. All right, anyways, I got an 8-pin socket. It'll work. And I decided I would put this so that the open end is the notch, because I think that makes the most sense. There we go. And luckily you can see the notch in the silk screen below it, so I think that will be fairly easy. So Jeremy's saying that I have a talking computer, and Jeremy has one with a MIPS meter on the front of the case, like as in millions of instructions per second. Why didn't they just go for clock speed like everyone else? Just wondering. Inquiring minds must know. Also, I think, Jeremy, when you get a chance, you got to send me a picture of this MIPS meter. I'm curious. All right. So, oh. Well. Okay. That's weird. Right? Don't know why that piece of solder is not flowing. That is like the weirdest piece of solder on my workbench. All right, let me just grab another piece of solder, and I'll put some flux on this board because there we go. It came from Computer Reset. I should probably not be surprised. There we go, and all right, and oh, I think I might know why I was having trouble. There's a couple of like no connect pins on this chip. Might be something weird about the vias on those no connect pins. All right, there we go. I think that is soldered. Yep, that was quick. Let me get the flux off the board, and then we'll All right, let me there we go. Yes, I have to say this is an interesting board. Not only does it have really weird password functionality that seems to be completely overthought for a 286 era board that would have been sold to a consumer. Oh, there may be a... Oh, there is a via going between those two. Okay. Sorry, I was making sure I didn't have a solder bridge. So not only does it have really ridiculous security for a 286 consumer board, but it's got like all sorts of bodges on it too. Like, yeah. All right, Jeremy, I'll let you know if I okay. Let me look at this and get to a point where I might be able to look at those boards. Hold on, I'm looking at this board under the microscope real quick because I keep waffling between. There is a trace between two of these pads, and there is no trace between two of them. And oh, sure enough, there is a trace between two of them. So that's what I keep seeing. It looks like a solder bridge. Okay, it's the trace between two of the pads. Um, Wait, Thomas, are you suggesting I send the EEPROM to Joe? Because I was able to read it out. Also, when I say EEPROM, I hope you all are not getting the wrong impression about what type of EEPROM it is. It's not an EEPROM that has code in it. Oh, hey, Jesse. Jesse inherited a palm top computer with the same password problem. It has an 8086. All right, so first I'm going to put the original chip in, and I am going to go to screen share here as soon as I launch the software. Whoop, that is assuming I can launch the correct software. There we go. All right, so this is a NMC 9346. All right. So, anyways, whoops, wrong. That's the wrong one. There we go. Had trouble finding the right place to click. Let me see here if I can make this bigger without too much trouble. I'm sure it's going to give me lots of trouble. Let's see. Transform, edit transform. Let's see here. 3840 by 6160. And then... All right. So, the original chip... you're not seeing the whole screen. At least I wanted to make it bigger. So, I can read the chip. And that is what is currently in the chip. I do not believe that is code. I believe those are the hashes of passwords, and possibly it could be password hashes and then bits that tell it enable or disable functionality. So I have saved this off already. Now, the board supports 21 passwords. There's like an admin user 0, which is like the admin or main password, and then you can have up to 20 other accounts. And basically, I think the way it works is you give it a password. If the person enters that password, they're the user. And those 20 other users, you can assign permissions like, can they access the parallel ports? Can they access the serial ports? Can they access the drives? Can they boot? Can they get into setup? It's completely ridiculous. Yeah. The XGECU software is a work of art, to be sure. Look at those fonts. Yeah. Yeah, Thomas, get some groceries for me while you're out there. Ha ha ha. So, if anyone has any ideas of what the format of this might be, it almost looks like... See, if I count it, there's like 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. It looks like there's 42 words. So I think each user probably gets 4 bytes. And then it looks like at the end, it might be some sort of a checksum, maybe. Or something like that. So anyways, I think the 860D21F is probably like the main user. And the thing is, I'm kind of suspecting that is probably the hash and maybe permissions bits. In fact, actually, the hash could be 860D and maybe permission bits is 201F. Because I noticed the first 4 are all 201F. So it could be interesting to set a password and then see what it looks like on a new chip. Anyways, I've saved this off, so let's check the new chips and make sure they're actually blank. Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't know what the algorithm is that actually computes the hash for the password. I would assume that it's probably just a simple hashing algorithm, but I mean, other parts of the security seem to be overthought. Oh, and the weird thing, the real reality of it is, once you enter the password to boot the system, it's not like someone else can't walk up to the computer and use it. Oh, it also helps if I click on the screen. So let me see. Here's one of these new EEPROMs. And it is blank. It is definitely blank. So, now that I've confirmed that I have a blank chip, and yes, if you're thinking, well, but it was all Fs, well, that's actually what a blank EEPROM is programmed to. So, fun fact, blank EEPROMs are not all zeros, they're all ones. This has been Fun Facts with Justin. Alright, so... Oh, I guess it would probably help if I went to the table cam. So, alright, so I got one blank EEPROM going in the board. There we go. Beautiful. Blank EEPROM in a socket. And once it's in the computer, you'll never see it because of where it gets buried. Seriously, the drafts will be on top of it. All right. So I now have put my gaffer's tape of propping down under the board. Now you all can see the mess that is my workbench. I guess I can turn the soldering iron off. I hope I don't need to solder anything else tonight. At least not for this board. All right. Let me get the power supply that Kim's is saying that that's not blank. Someone at the manufacturer has a stuck F key. Yeah. Yes. All ones would be F's in hexadecimal. Yes. Little computer humor, but yeah. So actually, EEPROMs are so they're all ones. All the bits are set, and to write data, you clear them for 0. So that's how those actually work. I don't know all the technical reasons why, but it has to do with how the memory on the EEPROMs work. All right, so put a video card in. Yes, for those of you that are Trident video card purists, this is a Cirrus Logic video card. I'm debating on between a oh yeah, ASCII F is a different value. Yeah, true. But if you were typing in hexadecimal numbers, FF would be the byte with all the bits set. All right, so there we go. Motherboard, got RAM in it. I don't have a compact flash card in it. Well, I don't have the compact flash card. Well, I don't have power on it. That's fine. Let's just see if we get stuck in a password prompt. How's that? I'm not even going to... No, I won't plug the keyboard in. About to say, wait a minute. Yeah, Cirrus Logic is better than Trident, even though it seems like for some reason I get to be the Trident video card collector, whatever. I don't know how that works. Okay, let's see here. So I need VGA 1. I wish I could find another remote control for my scaler so I could have one remote control with each of my scalers and then a piece of Velcro to put it somewhere where I can't lose it. All right. See here. Well, all right. I'll leave it on table cam as I first turn it on. 3, 2, 1. All right. I'm going to let it, I'm not going to bypass the RAM check. I'm going to let it do its full sequence. I don't know. I have a Realtek video card on my workbench somewhere that I borrowed from Chris, Retrotech Chris, that says otherwise. Oh, that's right. I do need to recap it to see if that fixes this problem. Okay, diskette drive A error. Yeah, that's fine. All right, well, we got the security system reinitialized. That's good. F1 to resume. It doesn't have a boot disk, so I guess it's not going to, probably not going to do anything. Okay, well, let me reboot it and see if it gives me a password prompt. Or if it tells me, or if I get that security system reinitialized error again. Or I guess it's probably not an error. It's probably just telling you that it reinitialized it. Okay, that's good. No warning about reinitializing the system, the security system. No password prompt yet. And it's still talking. Oh, Jeremy, I've got an Oak video card somewhere too, but it actually is, it's actually a really awful card. Unfortunately, it's also, last time I tried to use the card, it was failing. It was very unreliable. It was making the system unstable. That's not why I had removed it from the system it came in. I removed it from the system it came in because it was just a downright awful card. It was like the cheap low-end Oak video card. Alright, so I have plugged the floppy drive back in, which you can't see because I just wanted to do that really quick. I actually have a DOS disk selected. So if it starts to boot, it should start to boot. Yeah, it worked. I'm not expecting it to say anything. And I'm hoping it'll just boot into DOS. Which, if it does that, then I'm going to pull the chip out, put it back in the EEPROM reader, and read it out. And take a look at what a blank one looks like. And then I might actually set a password. I will confirm I have another blank chip in case I realize there's something up with these chips don't erase. But yeah, I want to see if maybe I could figure out what the format of the password saved is. Hey, there we go. Yes. Take that, Emerson computer. I have bypassed your overkill but still insecure security system. Because once someone logs in before boot, guess what? The computer's unlocked. Someone can just walk up to the keyboard and send Yoda pictures to everyone. Yeah, it still talks. Now I also know I will make sure it booted. I did it. Yes, woot. I did it. All right, let's for science. Yeah. All right, for science, because for science, we're geeks. We like investigating things. I'm going to pull the EEPROM chip out now that it's been initialized, and I'm going to read it. And see what it... I have a feeling that we're going to see those first... those first 42 bytes or so is probably going to be all zeros. Would be my guess, and there's probably going to be a checksum. But this is why I'm going to actually read the chip. So let's see, read it. And we're going to read it. And there we go, yeah. I guess it'd be this first 84 bytes. Interesting. So this was a 2 on the first chip, and it's still a 2 here. So don't know what that... probably some Yeah, good point, Jeremy. Let me save this readout here. Oh, well, I don't need everyone to know my entire bad organization scheme. All right. Okay, so I have okay, so I just saved that. So I now know what it looks like when it's blank. All right. So now I'm going to put this chip back in because I'm going to set a password on it. And then I'll read it out again. And I have a feeling I could even figure out what the bit mask is for the enables with a minimum of fuss, because it'll let you set 21 different user accounts up. I could just set each one of them up with a different allowed permission and see which bit's which. But maybe not tonight. Oh, the one thing that I did want to do, though, before I go through this insane experiment for the science of it, that might lead to me maybe someday on some rainy Saturday afternoon or something, maybe I'll do I don't know, maybe I'll do a different stream than usual, and I'll sit down with an assembly book and the ROM code and try to figure out what algorithm it's using. Believe me, it'll be a rainy day thing because it's been so long since I've done assembly. Okay, so I have confirmed I have another blank chip. So I can do an experiment here and I don't have to worry about like not being able to not have a password. That is why I found an eBay auction that not only was the seller in the US so I could get the chips, because the thing is it was Sunday when I figured this out. So yeah, I had to buy them from a US seller. But also I wanted to have more than one because I knew I would try to see if I could figure out the way this ticked. Okay, it's booting into DOS. Unfortunately, the one quirk with this BIOS is it'll only let you get into the BIOS at the post screen if there's an error. Otherwise, you gotta hit. I'm gonna actually let it finish booting DOS, and then I'll go into the setup. I think it's like Control Alt Insert on this board, or Control Alt S. It's one of the two. Actually, no, I think it's Control Alt Insert on my Tandy 1400. I think it's Control Alt S. There's a Control Alt Escape. Oh, maybe I need to be at the DOS prompt. Control Alt S, Control Alt Insert. Or maybe I just create a Control. I did try Control Alt Escape. Please check your keyboard connection. There we go. Or I just create a keyboard error. Hey, Rudy. Okay, so if I go into System Security, user number 0, status disabled. So I'm going to set a password. Remember, I have another blank chip confirmed. So plus I'll know the password. So if I set the ultra secure password of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the combination on my luggage. It's enabled. All right. So now if I escape and escape, it's going to reboot. And I'll skip the RAM check. And now it's going to ask me for password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and it's actually booting DOS. So now I'm going to read out the chip. I'm going to let it finish booting DOS. And, oh, good idea, Kibs. I didn't think Control-Alt-F2. I'll try that. It would be handy to know. I think I figured it out. I think there is a way to do it, and I figured it out once, and then I forgot. It might also be like Control-Alt-Print Screen, or Control-Alt-Pause, or I don't know, Control-Alt-End, maybe? I don't have the manual for this board, so... Also, I'm a bit superstitious, so I like to make sure it's not reading disks when I try to do weird things like this. Like Control-End, Control-Alt-Escape, Control-F2, Control-Alt-Home. Oh, well, that was Control-Alt-Delete. Of course, that wasn't it. Silly me, I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out at some point if I ever find the manual. I think on my Emerson 500EC, it's Control-Alt-Escape. Okay, so I've set a password. Just one password. And now if I read this chip out again, and look at that. I bet that is the hash right there. BF06, I bet, is the hash of the password. And 210F, I bet, are the permission bits. Control F13. There is no F13 on my keyboard. Rudy, we need more function keys. I don't know. I don't know what it is. All right, so this is okay. Now, there's one other thing I do want to do, and that is, can I erase this chip? No. Huh. All right, well, that's why I made sure I had a blank, or yeah, it could be a CRC. I'll have to look at what the algorithm is that's computing it. All right, well, I put a, there doesn't seem to be any key, yeah. Okay. Well, so I've got the two chips. Apparently, you can't erase them in this programmer. I don't know what that's about. But more importantly, and I just put a blank chip in because I don't know if you can clear the security password. Previous boot was incomplete. Security system reinitialized. Alright, we'll go into setup. Let me at least make sure we're good on setup. It is the 21st. 9:40. Oh, okay. Well, it seems to be, at least my clock module is keeping time fairly decently. Compact flash card. Well, those are the wrong settings, but they'll work just fine for this compact flash card. Okay, I think all the settings are fine. All right. Awesome. It's that chip. That chip had the passwords in it. That password this board had was the original passwords the original user had set. That was not the that was not what I expected when I first had trouble logging in. I suspected that somehow it wasn't reinitializing the clock chip, but apparently, no, it stored the passwords in a flash chip. So, well, at least I will definitely have the RetroWeb add a note to the page on the motherboard, letting folks know that if there's a password saved on the board, that it is stored in that particular chip. Oh, Rudy missed what the password was for. It's a boot password. No, Rudy. It's not just a BIOS password. It's a boot password. But it's not just a boot password. The passwords on this computer determine whether you can even boot the machine, or I guess whether you can see disks. So I guess whether you can access the hard disk, whether you can access the floppy disks, the serial ports, the parallel ports, the BIOS. Like, so you can set a user up so they can boot it and have access to everything but setup with a password. I do have a hex editor, Jeremy. But I don't know. Yeah, boot. Yeah. I think you can well, I mean, if you don't have a password, you can't boot the system. If you guess incorrectly 3 times, it halts the system. It's ridiculous. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm gonna create a. Go ahead and create a. Yeah, I can bypass that like I did. Yeah, I simply replaced the chip that had the password in it. So I'm going to format the compact flash card here. Well, actually, I wasn't really going to run. Okay, so when I set this up for good, I'm going to put DOS 3.31 on it. But for now, I'll just probably go. I'm going to put DOS 622 on it. Is this board from NSA? No, it's from Emerson Computer. I do not know why in the world it is made the way it is. It does not make any sense. It does not make any sense to me. DOS 4.01 still in shrink wrap. Well, I'm not a DOS 4 fan. That was a weird version of DOS. Like, yeah, it's just kind of, it struck me as the history of, if you look at the history of MS-DOS, DOS 4 was just like a weird release. Yeah, this board, the security is interesting, because the thing is, once you boot the computer, then anyone can walk up to it and use it. So unless after you're done using the computer, you shut it down and turn it off, someone could just walk up and use it. So it's like the password is overkill and yet not going to help you. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and install DOS on this compact flash card. It'll also be a good way to make sure that the system seems to be working correctly. Rudy likes Dr. DOS. Yeah, Dr. DOS was interesting. So anyways, so yeah, DOS 4.01 was the redheaded stepchild of the series. Yes, I would agree, Jeremy. Like, I'd rather run DOS 3.31, so at least I can have larger disks, because DOS 3.31 supports disks larger than, or partitions larger than 32 megabytes. DOS 3.3, it's 32 megabytes. DOS 3.31 supports larger partitions. So I'd rather be running either DOS 3.31 or DOS 5. Jesse says, my predecessor had a new copy of DOS 62 stashed away. My AV tech gave me a weird look when I said I was taking it home. Yeah. Yeah, I bet your AV tech was like, okay, yeah, go right ahead. Now, the one thing I do need to get for this system, and, well, I was trying to bid on one today that was new in a retail box just because I thought the box was cool, but the price went higher than I wanted to pay for it. But I'm gonna get a 287 XL for this board because, well, I think I need a 287 XL because of the clock speed that this processor runs at. Because in order to use a standard 287, I'll have to get a crystal, and I can't get a 287 that runs at the right speed otherwise. He has no idea. My life away, yeah. I mean, I have some 287s here, but one of them doesn't work, and both of them are the wrong clock speed for this board, because one's 10 megahertz and one's 8 megahertz. And now the 10 megahertz one is close, I think, because the 286 boards run the 287 at like 2/3 clock speed by default. And 2/3 of 16 is like somewhere between 11 and 12, I believe. But I believe the 10 megahertz one that I have is the one that's bad. So, unfortunately, what was behind the max partition size change in DOS 3.3 versus, it'd be 3.31. I suspect the reason behind the change was the OEM's DOS 3.31 was an OEM only release, and I suspect Microsoft's OEMs like Compaq and the like were probably asking them for larger partition support because hard drives were getting larger. So I think it was a stopgap, but it was an OEM only release. So you could only buy DOS 3.3 at retail, and it had the 32 megabyte partition limit. But for their OEMs, they released 3.31 it supports up to like, I think it supports up to like 504 megabyte partition size. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was, for anyone listening, it was clear that, yeah, DOS 3.31, because there was a DOS 3.1, I believe. It also would have had the 32 megabyte limit. But I think it was probably OEMs were asking for it. And it might have been, they might have done it as a stopgap, because I think MS-DOS 4 would have also supported the larger partition sizes. So it might have been a stopgap. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, just kind of one of those 360K floppy is all we ever needed. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what version of DOS was the first to support high density floppies. I do know that I think Adrian Black ran into it in his latest video of DOS versions that supported high-density floppies. Well, Jeremy, I would just run DOS 622 on this machine, but I'm going to on this particular machine, I'm going to run Windows 286. And you have to do special things to run Windows 286 on newer versions of MS-DOS. So I thought I would set it up more period appropriate with an earlier version of DOS. Also, I'm not sure the speech software that came with this computer supports... I don't know what versions of DOS it supports. I know it'll support 3.31 because that's what it shipped with. So that's why I was going to run an earlier version of DOS on this computer. All right, good night, Frank. It's just because I am going to load up as much of the original software as I can find, which leads me to what I'm going to do after I get MS-DOS installed on this computer, which means I'll have a compact flash card that I can stick in another computer to boot from and be able to copy files to it. So that's why I'm bothering to install DOS 622. I'm going to, so I have the original hard drive that was in this computer, and I'm going to attempt to get that hard drive to spin up and seek. But since I might only get it to run once, I want to make sure I have a compact flash card that's bootable that I can use to copy data onto. Because, yeah, I'm probably going to end up opening the cover of the hard drive because I suspect the heads are stuck in a rubbery, gooey mess, and I'm going to have to kind of gently persuade them off of it. I think DOS 3.31 probably supports... DOS 3.31 should support the RAM I need. I only have 8 megabytes of memory in this computer. Yeah. But the thing is, I'm going to set some of it up as EMS memory. Because this board supports EMS. You can, because the thing is, for what I want to use this computer for, I will need EMS memory. Because some older games use EMS and not XMS. So even though DOS 3.31 might have a RAM limitation, part of this RAM is going to be EMS. I just haven't set that yet. Well, yes, I know 8 megabytes is a ton for a 286, but how did Epitronics phrase it in his last video when he was applying thermal paste? And now I'm going to install an excessive amount of thermal paste just because I know it'll bug people in the comments or something like that. So yes, I am going to leave 8 megabytes of memory in my 286 because I know it's going to bug some people in the comments. There, I said it. My 286, and I will load it up with all the RAM if I want to. And besides, once I turn some of it into EMS memory, I mean, it's not like I can't change the setting, but I will need EMS and XMS memory, so yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah, Jeremy. Well, Jack, I would do the correct thing of use laplink plus to copy the files. However, if I get that drive to work, it might be a limited time only deal. So I'm going to copy things off as fast as I can. Put in a GoTech drive. Yeah. Well, I've got a GoTech connected to it now. I will probably At least for now, I'm going to leave the floppy drives in this computer that came with them because I don't have enough GoTechs to dedicate a GoTech to the machine. But I probably will put a GoTech in it at some point. But yeah, I've got a GoTech on it now. That's why the install is going, I think, just a little bit faster than it would if it was a floppy drive. That's also why you don't hear floppy drive noises, is because of using a GoTech. It is a GoTech that is the wrong color for this system. But yeah, if I get this drive to spin up, it's going to be a limited time only promotion, probably. So I'm gonna copy the data off as fast as I can because the person who did that Emerson 500EC video that I found that helped me discover that this was one of the talking computers. The he's been looking for the software that shipped with it. He had managed to find disk 1, but apparently disk 2 has been lost to time. So I'm kind of hoping that the original hard drive might have some of the original software still on it. So even though it won't be in the format of disk images, well, actually, Jesse, this GoTech, actually, when I bought it, it had the speaker in it to at least make clicking noises. But there was a whisker, a wire whisker on the wire that was connecting the speaker, one of the leads of the speaker, and it was shorting to ground. So the GoTech was like randomly resetting itself because of that short. So I had to remove the speaker from this one because the way it was soldered, I was like, I'm just going to remove it and not try to replace it. Jeremy says, oh, Thomas of Amiga Rochester resurrected your A500 without changing any parts whatsoever. Cool. Depending on how you want to install the GoTech, Jeremy, there's an eBay seller that I'll point you to that might have the GoTech in a format that would be amenable. Or possibly amenable. All right, I've got MS-DOS installed. I would like to know what is using up 2 megabytes of XMS memory, but that's kind of weird. All right, I got DOS 622 installed. Excellent. All right. So I think, without further ado, it's time to get the hard drive on the workbench. Yes, this is part of the computer I don't normally try to resurrect, but I have an incentive because these computers shipped with some sort of a menu system, and I mean, I don't know how fancy of a menu system it was. All I know is that I'm probably going to lose my thumb drive that goes in my GoTech before the night is over if I'm not careful. All right. Oh, you want to modify your A500 as little as possible? Oh, okay. Good night, Rudy. All right. Okay, then you're probably probably you're going to want to get an GoTech and put it in an external enclosure. And I don't know if the Amiga 500 actually. You might still have to install one of the like drive switcher boards. Oh, hey Dave. All right. And now it's time for Justin tries to get a hard drive to work. Well, I guess, Jeremy, you'd need a floppy drive switcher if you wanted to boot from the GoTech. Because I don't know what version of Kickstart your Amiga 500 is running, but I think you have to be running Kickstart 2 or later to be able to like use for the Kickstart to support booting from a different floppy drive. Although maybe that would be a reason why you might consider installing a newer Kickstart, is so that you could just, I think you like hold the right mouse button down when you turn it on, and it'll give you a menu to which drive to boot from. 1.3, okay. 1.3, the floppy drive, it will only boot from the internal drive. All right, so this is the original hard drive. It is a Western Digital WD 95048-AD, although I do not know why the 5 is handwritten. I think, though, this may actually be a WD 93048-AD. Manufactured April 14th, 1990. Serial number WD 202266. Made in Singapore. Warning, this is a fragile product. Removal of this cover will void any and all warranties. Well, consider them voided, Western Digital. I'm about to disregard your warning. Assuming I can figure out how the cover stays on. Defects, apparently. Head 0, cylinder 617. Byte 15,910. And head 1, cylinder 584, byte 3194. Which I find it odd that an IDE drive has a defect table, because normally IDE drives auto remap, but yeah. Yes, that is a stepper motor you see. Well, maybe the first thing I'll do is drop a little bit of machine oil down the stepper motor and see if that helps loosen it. But yeah, that is a stepper motor you see. Surely that defect list is still accurate today. Well, right now, if I had to say what the defect list is now, it is star.star. Because I haven't been able to get the drive to do anything. I mean, it'll spin up, but I never hear the head seek. I mean, the stepper motor might need some lubrication. Well, I'm hoping I can get it to work, and honestly, if I can get it to work without removing the cover, then even better, because maybe I can use the drive. Although, the guy that did that Emerson 500EC walkthrough video, he did warn me that these original Western Digital drives are not known for their reliability. So I get the impression that this particular model is not necessarily the one that's going to never give you up and never let you down. Also, I believe this is the original drive because this label here is on the original metal bracket. S/W ET500. Maybe that's the software version. I don't know. Type 17 vendor Western Digital. Size/speed looks like 40/70 milliseconds. Date February 14th, 1991. Aw, Valentine's Day. That's so sweet. Apparently this drive hates me though. Okay, yeah, well, I'll try some lubrication first. Yeah, that might actually be kind of stuck. All right. Might require some gentle percussive maintenance to unpark the heads. Yes. Yes, auto incorrect mangles another sentence. Yes. All right, let me see. I do have machine oil somewhere. Should be on my workbench somewhere. I do remember moving it because I kept knocking it over and getting machine oil everywhere. So I probably moved it somewhere else on my workbench so that I could knock it over and get machine oil everywhere. Ryan. Well, tell everyone to join my stream so I can get some watch hours. But hi, Steve and Sloopy and Ryan and Trina and everyone else watching on Trina's stream. Or watch on Trina's stream. What do I care? Well, I mean, I care a little bit, but that's fine. I'm cool. I'm trying to find machine oil. Apparently, I put it somewhere safe so that I did not... Oh, you know, I think I just realized. Probably by I put it somewhere safe probably means it's fallen off my workbench. So please hold while I attempt to find the landing spot for the machine oil. Oh, let's see here. No, I was pretty sure. Alright. If I thought it would help me find my machine oil, I would spray paint its bottle like fluorescent orange. But that won't help. I'll still misplace it. Alright. The problem is that a lot of times I think the items that I need are like, oh yeah, they're still sitting on my workbench. There's no need for me to come downstairs early and find them because they're just right there on my workbench. And then of course it I start streaming and then realize that, oh, I must have moved that in the middle of another stream and didn't even realize consciously that I was moving it. Great. Oh, here we go. I found it. Oh, yeah. And just as I thought, I moved it to knock it over and get machine oil somewhere else on my workbench. So let me wipe up the spill. And I will try to remember to buy the bottle of machine oil that is in my Amazon cart that has that I can actually close the bottle because I haven't lost the lid for it because it'd be brand new. Oh, hey, Garth. All right. So I am going to attempt to put a small amount of machine oil into the stepper motor. And so I'm going to, well, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that sit for a moment or two. And hopefully it will go into the stepper. And while that happens, I'm going to see if I can find the powered. I'm going to attempt to knock lots of things off my workbench. Mission successful. And I'm going to grab my power supply tester so that I can put a load on an ATX power supply. Because basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug the drive in and let it try to spin up and see if it tries to seek. Because being an IDE drive, it should try to do a self-test, so. I will though, zoom out a little bit so that should the drive decide to do other things, like go boom, that I will even put it circuit board side up so that maybe it's more visible. All right. Hard drive spin up and hopefully hear the head step test in 3, 2, 1. Well, I mean, I hear the platter spinning. I did not hear the head start to step. All right, let me try a couple power cycles. Yeah, I'll put the microphone closer so that if the tantalum blows, well, you'll hear it right in your headphones. All right, well, let it spin down. We try it again. All right, I think I'm going to find my rubber mallet here. There it is. That was a bubble mailer. Oh, yeah, it's probably so quiet. All right. So, I'm not even sure the stepper is trying to move. Oh, I think I know why you can't hear it spinning. Oh, no, actually, that wasn't it. I might be able to fix it. Let me see here. Is that better? I don't know if this is. I turned off some of the filters I normally run. Yeah. Okay. I think of all those power up attempts, I've noticed that I don't think I don't think the stepper's even making an attempt to move. Oh, and hi, Scarlett. I don't think the stepper's even trying to move, so tempted to see if I can't maybe gently, although not with those needle nose pliers. Trying to see if maybe I can gently rotate them rotate it while it's not under power. I think the stepper might be totally stuck. That's why I was going to try to. Oh, hi, abracadabra, hocus pocus. Welcome. Wait a minute. I can move it. All right. I was able to move it. So let's see what happens if I power it up now. Now that I've actually moved it a little bit. I think I know what the problem is. Oh no, I was actually able to move it manually. I think I know what the problem is. My guess. It could be wrong. Let me remove the PCB so I can get a look at the other side of the board. I wonder if the stepper motor driver is bad. I don't hear it even trying to move the stepper motor. It is quite possible that the stepper motor was stuck, and maybe the driver is blown, or maybe there's a tantalum for the driver that's blown. And I'm hoping that maybe if I might be able to replace whatever's wrong. That is, if I can open my bits. There we go. I should probably note that this will void my warranty with Western Digital. I mean, my warranty that's only like been expired for 32 years. Yeah, Thomas says I blame a capacitor. That's exactly what I was wondering. Nothing on the bottom of the drive looks blown. I mean, the bottom of the drive looks pretty good. That's why I wanted to pull the see if I could get the board off. All right, let's see here. So it looks like all right, so looks like if I remove this here, then I think I should be able to pivot the board out. There we go. Oh, well, there's not much room. Okay. Okay, so it might be fun reconnecting these, but wait, is there another? Oh, there. Oh, let me see. There's a cable here. Well, oh, actually, oh, here we go. there's actually a little more room on these cables than I thought there was. Okay. Let me get this one off here. And then this one off here. And this one off here. Okay. And now... Oh, that's cool. All right. Oh, that's neat. It looks like there's a Hall effect sensor here. Probably measuring the position of the platter or something. Or I presume that's a Hall effect sensor. All right, well, everything here looks fine. So I guess let me set this drive to the side. All right, let's take a look at this board here. I don't see anything blown right offhand. But I do see, let's see here. Let's take a quick look. So we got a tantalum, 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 crooked tantalum, but there's probably put on crooked at the factory. Tantalum, tantalum, and probably a couple more tantalums. Or, oh, these might be inductors, actually. I wonder if one of the tantalums is shorted. Quite possible. All right, so I'm looking at the chips on the board just to make sure none look like they've obviously released the smoke. The chips look to be in good shape. And I think I can confirm the bottom of the board's in good shape. So I guess the first step is let's get the beepity beep meter out. Yes, as Jack says, yeah, Western Digital still exists. Try making a warranty claim. Yeah. Reconnecting those is a problem for future me. Yes. Just as one of my coworkers and one of my coworkers got me into saying, that is a problem for future Justin. Yeah, it's an IDE drive, Jeremy. Should be ATIDE. Cooked would be. Let's see here. So this tantalum that not appear to be shorted. Okay, that one's also reading as open, so that's probably fine. That one's also reading as open, probably fine. Probably fine. See, that's an inductor. Probably fine. Wait a minute. Okay, I want to see what that is, because that's reading like 0.7 ohms. So that might actually be a bad thing. So what is that? That is... Alright, it says Dale on it. I can't tell... Can't tell what that is. So I guess... Let's go to the microscope. Alright, it says Dale. There you go. Dale 100. Oh, and I bet that is, oh, that's an inductor. I bet that's L4. Okay. Alright, yep, that's, okay, then that's going to measure low resistance. So I'm just going to kind of pan around the board. Oh, Jeremy says there's a Nidec factory within 10 minutes of him. They produce heavy duty electric motors there. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to kind of pan around the board, kind of slow. So if you see anything suspicious, yell in the comments, and when I stop looking through the microscope, I'll come back to it. Okay, so that component that's on crooked is looks like it might be a resonator or some sort of frequency device because it does say like 2.2. Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, I guess probably should turn it around. Actually, I can't read upside down. Actually, oh, 2.2 microhenries. Okay, that's an inductor. Hmm. Oh, deck. Oh, knee deck. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, it's an inductor. It looks off kilter, but it is on the board, but yeah, there's a couple components that are crooked, but they are on the board. So I'm not going to fix them just because they're crooked. That's how they were made. It's fine. They're not shorting against anything. It's an earlier surface mount board. They didn't get things as correct as they do now. Oh wait, I see a tantalum capacitor that I think I missed while I was measuring because it was. Okay, so it's fine. Guess let me check the voltage rails resistance. Okay, so whichever one that is, not a short there. Oh, hey, 1-bit. Interestingly enough, I'm not measuring any resistance. I would have almost expected to have measured some sort of a resistance. Short between 5 and 12 volts, so that's a good check. Nope. It's also measuring open. All right, let me see if I can maybe find another point that... Okay, so this is what I just want to check something. So I'm pretty sure this tab is probably ground on this, because this is probably the motor driver. In fact, it could be a motor or stepper driver. That is probably ground. I'm just going to check in a couple spots. Okay, just checking. So that is a ground. That tab is ground. Basically, what I'm doing is I just wanted to make sure that this isn't a case of the power connector needs resoldered, but no. I don't see any. Oh, hey, Adam. It's the control board for a hard drive that the stepper motor won't move. And I've confirmed, but I was able to manually turn the stepper motor, and it's freely turning manually, but I never hear the heads seek. I was just checking to make sure that there wasn't a short or something, or a blown component or something like that. And I don't see anything obviously wrong. Hmm. Oh, did I miss some? Oh, Joe! I completely missed Joe entering the chat. Probably because I was busy measuring things on this board. Yeah, I don't see anything obviously wrong with this control board. Unfortunately, this just may be a dead hard drive. Adam says, use a drive from another model of the same drive. Well, if I had one, I would. So I may just have to set this drive to the side until maybe I can find another one. We'll say the data on this drive is not valuable enough for me to send it to Drive Savers, because they charge an arm and a leg to recover it. I mean, it's possible that maybe the stepper motor is just bad. 20 ohms. Oh, wait. That's a good check if I can get a probe in it. Okay, so I don't know right offhand which is which, but let me see if I can figure it out. So there are four wires coming out of the stepper motor? So weird. Okay, so... Oh, that's where the wire... Okay. That's reading 18.4 ohms. Okay, so that's one of the 18.7 ohms. Okay. So I know which are the two pairs of coils in the stepper motor. And it's reading, the label says it's 20 ohms. It's reading like 18.4, 18.7. Okay, so the stepper motor, the coils are not like shorted in the stepper motor. So that's not the problem. So here's where the stepper motor plugs in. And it sure looks like the stepper motor might be controlled by this one of these two chips here. Let me check those two resistors. Yeah, let me check a few of these resistors. I just want to make sure because possible because I'm measuring opens on this board. I just want to make sure I don't have like a that's a 0.9 ohm resistor. That's weird. 1 ohm. This might actually be fuses. 0.3 ohms. Oh, I bet that might be a fuse. Oh, those are some pretty low resistances. 1.8 ohms. Alright, I may have to check the... So this one is brown, black, gold. Brown, black, gold. Have I tried the... yeah. The drive's not moving the heads. It's an IDE drive. It should try to move the heads as far as I know, and it won't. I have not tried it on another computer, but I guess maybe I will because I'm running out of ideas. I don't see anything overtly wrong with this board. Future me is now wishing my past me hadn't have disconnected these cables. Not a lot of slack on them. Of course, who knows? Maybe the... Okay, let me do something here. Okay, Thomas Armstrong says 1 ohm, so... If in doubt, deoxit the connectors out. Or in this case, it's just contact cleaner, but same thing. Same thing, just cheaper. There we go. I mean, I doubt that was it, but who knows? At least now no one can say, well, you should have tried deoxit. Well, actually, hold on. That's not how YouTube works. Someone will say it, even though I did. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put these connectors back on. I don't think the control board's the source of the problem. It just, I mean, could be this drive is just dead. At least going to read. Yep. Possible this drive's dead and there's no recovering the data. I mean, okay, so I'll try powering it up standalone, and if it doesn't move the heads, maybe I'll connect it to a computer, and maybe this drive won't do a self test unless it's connected to a computer. I mean, I do know the IDE interface on the Emerson 500EC works because I can boot a compact flash card from it. So, yeah, unfortunately, hard drives can just stop working. I'm not going to do an Adrian Black on this just yet and do an autopsy tonight if I can't get it to work, just in case I realize I've done something stupid. All right. Yeah, it didn't even try to move the stepper. I also don't like how it's I'm gonna move the microphone and power it up again. How it spins up, but it kind of spins up and then it sounds like it slows down a little and speeds up. Take a listen. Oil this. Well, I've already oiled the stepper motor once. I guess I can put a little more oil on it. All right. I'll put a little more oil on it and let it have a chance to marinate. That is, if I can find where I put the little bottle of machine oil. It would appear as if I've already misplaced it, and it's only been out of my hand for, what, 10 minutes? 15 minutes? Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. That was probably an excess amount of oil, so let me... Oh, oh, sorry. I realized what I did. I turned the filters back on because they kill the background noises of my dehumidifier. Okay, let me try it again. Now I've added oil, but now you could probably hear what it's doing if you listen carefully. Alright, Kibbs is saying smack it with a screwdriver till it seeks. Well, I will, at least for the headphone users, move my microphone back to a more amenable position. Hmm. Well, I guess I can. All right. How about let's do this? Okay, so we got the hard drive. I've got a messy disk. So I'm gonna use the ATX power supply because I do need the advantage of these slightly longer leads. Plus, it's got a toggle switch on it. All right, so let me plug in the adapter. Let me grab the Emerson EC 500 motherboard. All right, plug in the AT power cables. The adapter. Okay, the adapter's fine right where it landed. Let me see here. Let me grab the IDE cable. Luckily, the cable. Luckily, there is a key pin. Oh, let me pull the compact flash card. And see here. Go tech. And go tech power. We don't get a startup error. Well, but we will get a startup error because the hard drive type's not going to match. And keyboard. And we'll see if maybe it needs to be plugged into a computer before it's going to do its startup test. All right. Let's see what it does plugged into a computer. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, hold on. Would help if I had the VGA cable. All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Would help if I turned on the outlet. 3, 2, 1. Get in here at Seek. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. What's this? Select startup procedure.
Please check your keyboard connection. A system startup error has occurred.
Yeah, I caused a startup error for a reason. Because I needed to get into setup here. Setup, type 17. Because I think is that it? Type 17. Listen carefully. Did you hear that? That was the stepper motor. I think this is something on the hard drive, maybe. I'm gonna try to boot from the hard drive. Oh, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, I'm gonna boot from the floppy disk then. Yeah, I heard clicking. I thought it was the stepper motor because I thought I saw this stepper motor spindle move. Oh, it would help if I put the thumb drive back in the Gotek. Let me see if I got a better boot disk here. Okay, let's try that one. Load operating system from floppy disk. There's a chance, yeah. I tried pressing 5 Atom. It went right back to the menu. Alright, we are booting from a floppy disk. I should have probably hit function 5. Or whatever the one is to skip. There we go. I don't need to wait for it to try CD-ROM drivers. Alright, so we are on A drive. Do we have a C drive? No. Oh. We do not have a B drive. D drive? Nope. Okay. F disk. Do we have any fixed disks? Ooh, error reading fixed disk. Wait a minute, that's a good sign. That means it actually tried to read the disk. Error reading fixed disk. What's on this floppy disk? I almost want to... It's a sign of life, at least. Yes, it is. Oh, it's Control-Alt-S. That's how you get to the setup. Diagnostics. Continue. Yes. Test. Selected device. 10. I tried to get to F-Disk, Jeremy. It did not... it told me error reading fixed disk. So let me do this to maybe... I left the filters off so you can hear the stepper motor. I figured I'd run these diagnostics to kind of let it work the machine oil in. Yeah, it is kind of painful. It's very high-pitched noise. The seek test passed. So it's running a head test. Oh, an error occurred on a test. Press spacebar to continue. So the head test failed. Alright, well, let's see what happens if I run it again. Yeah, I was stuck at 0. I mean, it's... Interestingly enough, it's doing the seek test on head 0. It's a Western Digital drive. Jeremy, I guess it is. It says Type 17 on the label, and that label appears to be from the computer, not the... So I'm presuming it's right. It doesn't help that the label has a handwritten correction on it. Interesting. Jeremy, I kind of had to assume because, as I said, the label has a handwritten correction on it. I cannot read the original number. And the number that is on the label doesn't come up with anything at all. Also, I can't read the label because of the way I have the drive set. Let me see if I can't set this drive until it's not... Actually, let me do this. I'm going to turn it off for a moment, let it spin down, and I'm going to change the orientation of the drive. I'm also turning my audio filters back on. I don't know what the head test does. I don't have the manual for the BIOS, so I don't know what the head test is actually trying to do. Okay, the label says it's a WD95048. But that 5 is handwritten on the drive as in... I presume someone at Western Digital corrected the original label. But unfortunately, that WD95048 found nothing on the internet. WD95048-AD. Oh, well, okay. I didn't find nothing. It found an eBay auction listing. Which is actually nothing when it comes to, I want the settings for the geometry of the drive. Oh, it's finding something now. Well, okay, maybe the That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so Type 17 drive. Oh, wait. Does this... setup. Okay. 977, 517. Although this page I just found says it's 782, 427. Oh, translation gives me a headache. All right, let me see if any of the built-in types are... All right, let me try the settings that are on this page I found. User, okay. 782 4 27. Oh. And it says landing zone, which I don't think matters on IDE. Landing zone is 862. And I don't think there's a... And I don't think there's a pre-comp. All right, save configuration. Diagnostics. Let's see what happens if I run the fixed disk test now. Well, actually, this drive, okay, so Adam's saying he had a few drives where he had to manually unstick the drive head. Well, the drive heads are, the drive head assembly is moving now. It is definitely stepping between cylinders. So I don't think I got to unstick anything. The head test may be trying to read data, but I don't know. There's no documentation that I have. Maybe I had the wrong geometry. We'll see in a moment. I think I plugged everything in, Jack. But I mean, I've got the IDE cable plugged in. I've got the power plugged in. And those are the only two cables that I have for the drive. Well, I'm glad it only does the even ones on this test. That's weird. I changed the setting, and it's still trying to test cylinder 976. All right. Main menu. Okay, go back to setup. 782, 427. All right. Maybe I gotta restart it. Okay. Maybe you gotta restart, and then you can go to diagnostics. Alright, I'll try to boot from floppy disk and see if F-disk works now. Maybe I had the geometry wrong. The thing is, though, IDE drives do translation, and that can mean that even if you've got the geometry wrong, it can still work. And that just gives me a headache sometimes. I think basically what it does when it wants to access the drive, the computer's giving it a sector number. Although it's still important to have the geometry right, because that can cause problems if it's wrong, but sometimes it can still work on some things. Error reading fixed disk. Alright, let's try this fixed disk diagnostic again. And let's see if it has the right geometry in the test. Okay, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. Okay, that's some unhappy noises it's making. Okay, this drive just made some unhappy noises. What's the chances that I'll have a second drive die live on stream? Okay, I think it's got the geometry right in the test. Okay, sure enough. Wondering if I should see if I can find a spin right disk. Will spin right even work on an IDE disk? Because maybe it can tell me something that oh, that's cool. I just parked the disk. Let me power cycle. Actually, I did want to I was going to do something here so I could at least manually confirm that the stepper motor is stepping. I was going to draw a little mark on the stepper motor. And that way I could at least be able to see if it is actually moving. Now I've got a little green mark on the spindle. Adrian Black uses it. I think it's primarily really for like MFM and RLL hard drives because it can do low-level formats, but I was thinking that maybe it could at least maybe run on the drive and tell me what it thinks it sees. Oh, it looks like SpinRite is like still sold. Interesting. Okay, well, maybe I won't be able to download it because it's not freeware. It's not abandonware. Oh, wait a minute. Well, actually, I think I just found it on One World PC. Maybe that's an old website. It just only looks like they still sell it. All right. Okay, I have downloaded the SpinRite discs. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Okay, so I got the disk image at the ready. Let's see. Still error reading fixed disk. All right, let me put SpinRite on my GoTech, and I'm gonna try booting it, and we'll see what SpinRite tells me about this drive. Obviously, I'm not gonna low level format it, but maybe SpinRite can. It's got some tests, so maybe it can shed some light on the state of this drive. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. Got SpinRite loaded. It's version 4 because it's on a 3.5 inch drive. Good job, Joe. Joe has 2 busted SC30 boards working. One mostly, the other, I guess, completely. Oh, there we go. SpinRite disk should not be used to bootstrap this computer. They went through the effort of doing this, and why can't you just make the disk bootable? Whatever. Fine, I'll use my plain boot disk. All right, well, if this is a bust, I'll pull out a motherboard that actually has auto detect capability, and we'll see what maybe if the auto detect detects a third geometry. Because the label said type 17. The page I found on the internet gave me settings that did not match. type 17. All right, so let's see, spin right. Spin right. Okay, that's kind of neat. All right, yep, we're good. I booted from a floppy disk, so we're good. All right. Very interesting. Wow. Okay, this is wait a minute. No hard drives to display. Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay, this version of SpinRite doesn't support this hard drive. Maybe I should have used SpinRite 5. All right. Let me copy SpinRite 5. And we'll give it a try. The comment on One World PC did say that SpinRite 5 had better support for IDE drives, so or then again, maybe SpinRite not seeing the drive is indicative of a larger problem with the drive. And I'll pull over a motherboard that can detect what the geometry is, maybe. All right, let's escape and exit. And then we'll go to SpinRite 5. And I'm sure it'll have some fancy schmancy animation or something like that. Or maybe it just gets right to work. All right, same animation. I mean, I am kind of impressed of how much this program goes through to make sure that I guess your computer is working well enough to run it. Okay. Begin spin right. No. Hmm. Maybe I'll just run a level 1 if assuming it might see the drive. Hard drive information. No drives to display. It does not see that drive. Yeah, it would be cool to run that tool if it would see the drive. Okay, so spin right. Not happy with something. All right, let me go into setup. Okay, 782, 427. Okay. Fine. Fine. All right. Let me pick a motherboard that can auto detect drives. Probably doesn't really matter what it is. All right. I think I'll pick one that's got onboard controller if I've got one handy. Okay, so the Emerson 500EC is off the workbench. Let me go grab a board here. How about the? Oh, here we go. My VIP motherboard. Why is it a VIP? Well, it's a VIP hopefully because it's going to give me the geometry of this drive. Or something like that. All right, so let's see here. It's also a VIP because it's the Visa local bus. And I'm not going to be able to use that hard drive cable because that hard drive cable has a key pin. All right, let me find a cable that does not have a key pin in it. Because this motherboard's IDE does not have said missing pin, and I'm not going to deface the motherboard. Yeah, this might be a job for a more modern board. That was my thoughts exactly. Let me find a cable. Cable. Where did I hide my cable? Oh, well, there's a cable. Here we go. Work. Oh, that's right. All right. So pin 1 is here. Pin 1 is. Right, I'm going to put this drive on the secondary IDE. because what I'll do is I will put my compact flash card in the primary IDE, the one that I've created a little while ago, so it's got DOS 622 on it. That way, I do manage to get this working. I can copy files off. All right, there's that. And all right. All right, there we go. Let's see what we've got. Delete if you want to run setup. Oh, this keyboard. I need to get another AT keyboard or an adapter or something. Wait a minute. It just tried to boot. Oh, it just tried to boot from the spin right disk. All right. Hold on. I'm trying to get into setup so I can change the drive geometry because it's not correct. I Hello. All right. Unfortunately, this keyboard the only keyboard I have with an AT connector, I think it's one of those that tries to detect AT or XT mode. And unfortunately, if you hit keys too soon on it, it like does stupid things. Oh wait, I do have one other keyboard with an AT connector on it. All right. Unfortunately, it's not an English keyboard. But it's better than nothing. I have a PS2 keyboard as well, but the problem is I don't have a I don't well, I thought I had a PS2 to AT adapter, but I think it's actually an AT to PS2 adapter, and I don't know where it's run off to. Okay. Okay. At least the German keyboard that I have is definitely in AT mode. It's not an auto switching keyboard. So I need to just break down and get an actual XT keyboard. Not like a model. I'm not referring to Model M, but wait a minute. Oh, there we go. See, it goes into setup. All right. Auto IDE. That's my compact flash card. Okay. Uh this is my 486, Joe. Okay, fine. The WinBIOS only auto detects on the primary IDE channel. Fine. I'll move the Western Digital drive. This is my 486. Well, actually, I guess it's my 5x86. Plug the CPU fan in so I do not have a meltdown. There we go. Okay, so let's try this again. Auto IDE. Oh, it does auto detect secondary. Not detected. Great, fine. Standard. All right, well, let me try manually typing in geometry. So what was it? It was 782, 427. 780, 782, 4. And that was like, what was the landing zone? 862 is what this says to use. 862. And sectors was 17? 27. 41 megabytes. Okay. Yeah, the drive might be dead. Well, it might also not support auto detect. All right, it is seeking. Well, drive is doing something. It's making short, seeky type noises. Primary master hard drive error, slave ignored, run setup utility. Hmm. Alright, well, let's see what fdisk here says. No fixed disks present. Yeah, this drive is not, Joe is convinced the drive has failed. It probably has. But I'm not quite ready to give up. I'm going to try one more thing. Gotta wait for it to do its dance. I'm going to try type 17. Maybe type 17 was actually the correct geometry. Also possible that head 1 is failed and not reading anything. Head 1 could be stuck to the platter for all I know. Right, F1 to resume. Should be going into... No? Okay, whatever. Not going into setup. Okay. Fine. And the reason I would like to see if there's a particular thing on this drive. That's why I'm trying hard to get it to read. Yeah, Joe says it's not a HDD, it's a dead. Well, let me try type 17. Humor me. All right, master disk. Let's see here. Type 17. These are pretty much standardized. Let's see, 977, 517, size 41. Okay. All right, let's see if type 17 works. I suspect it won't. But I figure if I don't try it, someone will call me on it in the comments. Actually, someone will call me on it in the comments, even though I am trying it, because, well, that's the way they work. Okay. I have a feeling the clunky noises the drive was making earlier were death throes. Yeah, I don't think the stepper's moving. The only thing I can think of is did I get the cable on backwards? But I don't think it would be doing what it's doing now if I had the cable on backwards. I'm just checking the... That is pin 1. Okay, let me... Okay, I think... Okay, I am going to double check if this okay, yeah, I've got... I do have cable on correctly. Yeah, alright. The cable's on correctly. I think the drive is dead. Or the spindle seized up. Oh, okay, let me try that. I just manually moved the spindle. I want to see what it does. It is quite possible that maybe there is something sticky in the drive. Let me see what it does now that I moved the spindle and see if it actually makes some genuine attempt to move the heads. It actually was trying to move the heads that time. Alright. Joe says it's dead. Adam's asking, is there something important on this drive? Potentially. Alright, I'm gonna try one more thing, and then I'll declare it dead. Yes, Adam, I do believe it's set to master. Alright. According to the guide I have, there should be no jumpers for a single drive. So yes, it is jumpered correctly. As for, is there something on this drive? Yes, potentially, but I don't know. I have someone that is looking for the original software that shipped with this computer. It could be on this drive. 782.427. All right. Why I'm giving it one more try with the parameters I found online. It is jumpered for single drive. The thing is, I don't know if that software is on this drive. The only way I will know is if I can actually manage to read it. This is the last time I'm going to try on this stream. It is moving the heads. I do not know what the BIOS is trying to do other than it's probably trying to determine if the configuration's correct. And it would appear as if it cannot. Okay. That's it. I don't know that I've declared the drive dead, but I have declared it dead for the purposes of this stream. Any more dorking with it, I'll do some other place. Although I am somewhat curious as to why head 1 is. Oh, I can get the plug out. There we go. I mean, you know, there is part of me that wants to remove the cover from this drive to even see if is there even hope, or is the one of the heads like stuck to the platter. I don't know. I'm almost tempted to just open the drive up and take a look at it, and then I can say without a doubt that, well, I've broken the seal and it's not going to be a happy drive. And I disagree, Jeremy. Hard drives make awful paperweights. And unless they're like the 5¼ inch full height ones. I'll void the warranty. I know, Joe, but maybe I'll see something that. Maybe I'll see something that'll tell me that it's hopeless. Just don't dork with it anymore. Maybe I'll see huge gouges on the platter where the heads have crashed. I don't know. I don't know that the heads are stuck. That's the thing. I think the heads are. I mean, I was able to get it to do its seek test, seemingly. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. It looks like the platter is held on by clips, which is weird. Don't think there's any screws. I think it's clips. Well, I guess my warranty is going to be void because I'm peeling the label. Oh, look. It says 930 on it, which is what I thought the model. I thought it was a WD 930 drive. Ship it to Gilware and have them do data recovery on it? What, do they charge like $1 bazillion? I don't think the data's that valuable. There's like... If they charge more than like $20, it exceeds my budget for this project. This is the someone and me, I would too, would like the original software that shipped with the computer, because it shipped with a set of discs and only disc 1 has survived. So I'm opening it up because I unless Gilware is a member of the United Federation of Planets and money has ceased to exist in their offices, which I highly doubt. Well, the data on this drive is not that valuable. I'm sure there's another Emerson 500EC somewhere, and that owner probably has their original discs, and we'll just image the floppy disks. I'm sure the floppy disks are floating around in someone's 5 1/4 inch disc collection. Yeah, I find it very strange that there's clips. Quite clearly, it's clipped. I don't know how to get the clips off, but it is quite clearly clipped on. So, anyways, yeah, that's the data was potentially valuable enough for me to spend. Oh, it's 12:12. Why didn't someone warn me it was 12:12 a.m.? I didn't realize how late it was. Well, yeah, on that note of how long I spent dorking with this thing, it looks like I will not be removing the clips tonight. Because, yeah, it is later than I thought it was, because I have an instruction on my system clock. That and the way these clips are on here, I am going to need to find a really small screwdriver that I don't mind potentially ruining. Because yeah, that's going to be fun. Well, I guess you'll just have to wait until another time when I actually find something that can get these clips out so that I can open the drive up to see if by chance there's damage inside of it that would have prevented it from working correctly. So, I guess until then, yeah, there we go. There. I think Western Digital will replace that under warranty. There's nothing wrong with that label. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird. Actually, I think the stepper motor might be. I think a stepper motor might still be weird. Anyways, I guess that's where the adventure is going to end tonight because it is 12:15 a.m. and I do have to work tomorrow. So, I guess the good thing is I was able to conclusively prove that the password was stored on this little itty bitty chip, and I had to replace the chip, to clear the password. I've also probably demonstrated that the previous owner's data is probably safely stored on a dead hard drive, but, well, kind of like to see if I can maybe get it to work long enough to see if the software that would have shipped with the computers on here, but that's not going to happen tonight. And yeah, so I got the computer working. The computer will be working, but I guess the hard drive is right now a mystery. So I will well, if I can figure out how to get the clips off so I can at least inspect the inside of it, that will probably be my next step. But the weird thing is yeah, I suspect the heads are not stuck in goo in the hard drive because I can spin the stepper not with my fingers for some reason, but if I get a pair of needle nose pliers, I can actually turn it. And it might just be because you need a little bit of grip on the shaft. And I can actually see my green mark is moving. So I know I am actually turning it. Anyways, yeah. Oh, good night, Adam. Anyways, yeah, the main part of the computer lives. It will live to play cool DOS games, hopefully. I'm thinking of maybe trying to get an EGA card for it. But then again, maybe I'll put a VGA card. I thought it'd be cool though to have an actual legitimate EGA system. Because I think the computer might have actually shipped with an EGA card. I can't prove it, but I suspect it might have. But anyways, that's probably down the road, because at the moment I'll probably just put a VGA card in it. And yeah. Anyways, yeah, the main part of the computer lives. It talks. It doesn't have a password on it now. I can put a compact flash card in it and boot it. And as long as Jeremy, I've got other computers I can play Wolfenstein 3D on. That's why I might put an EGA card in my 286, because yeah, Wolfenstein 3D is not really my game. I'm horrible at first person shooters. But yeah, where was I going? Oh yeah, as long as it looks like, as long as I get a small enough compact flash card, I don't even need to use the XTIDE BIOS on the computer, because it looks like the BIOS supports drives up to 504 megabytes, and that's plenty big enough. So, yeah, I'll probably just go with that. But anyways, theoretically, Jeremy, I have a 16-bit EGA card too, but it doesn't work. I'll give y'all one guess as to where I bought it, and you'll be correct. And yes, I regret it. Yeah, non-working EGA card. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, I may reach out to you about that, Jeremy, especially if you know it works. But yeah, anyways, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that maybe, just maybe, YouTube will let you know when I go live next, or even upload a video. I know that next week I actually am stumped as to what I'm going to stream, because I had thought about working on the Apple IIc next week, except that I had to order something and I got a message from the seller today that says, "Oh yeah, we're out of the office until next next Tuesday, I think." I was like, well, that pretty much guarantees that I won't get it in time for either of my stream times next week. So the Apple IIc will probably be the following week. That's Sloopy. I just learned how to solder. So anyways, I'll find some cool things to work on next week. I got plenty of things to work on. It's just a matter of deciding what to work on that I might have parts for. And not. Oh, okay. I had wanted to try some 286 diagnostic ROMs on the Western Digital 286 motherboard. So maybe that'll be one of the streams next week, is trying those diagnostic ROMs and seeing if I can figure out what's wrong with that board. I don't know what the other night will be. I'll figure that out. Anyways, but yeah. Yeah, in fact, my voice is about done for the evening, because I need to go get some water. So anyways, like to wish everyone a great rest of your day. Hope to see you next time. Take care, and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon. and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.